wait, let me just turn the light on. Right, this is my computer, this is the door on the way out. This is my mirror, as you can see me taping. Should we move on further up the house?
My name's Diane, and this is the story of my son Daniel and the day that changed our lives forever. At the time of the accident, Daniel was 15. He was 2 months off his 16th birthday. He just loved being on the motocross, out in the country, going around the tracks. We knew that when Daniel left school that was what he was going to do. He was just so good. We were all having Sunday dinner, and after him and his brother and his brother's girlfriend headed off into town for a drive round. So I watched them, waved them off, and they headed down the road. About 5 minutes later, the mobile went, and it was my son, James, and he said, "Mum, I've crashed the car," and Daniel's unconscious. We raced down the road, and my son, he came running up to me with his girlfriend, and I hugged both of them. And I could see Daniel lying on the floor. So I watched them getting him onto a trolley, and I sat in the back of the ambulance with my other son and his girlfriend when they got checked over. And eventually they did move him, and they said they were going up to Noble's. I can remember seeing the car. It wasn't that badly damaged because it hadn't been a bad crash as such. It hadn't rolled. It was a freak accident. We were sat down, me and his dad, side by side, and in front of us was, the two doctors. And it was then they said that Daniel had gone, and that the Daniel we knew, he wasn't going to come back again. Then they asked us, had we thought about organ donation?
Before the question of organ donation arises, we have to decide that the medical treatment that we're providing for the patients is no longer appropriate or futile. Only when we are certain that that's the case will we start considering whether or not the patient is suitable for organ donation.
We're called into an intensive care unit or an emergency department when a patient is at the end of their life, and it's important that the clinical staff realise that organ donation should be a usual option, a normal part of that patient's end-of-life care.
It had been made quite clear to me that I would not be coming back to the Isle of Man if I didn't get a new heart, as I was that ill. I did write a letter to my donor family, because I did find out, you do manage to find out just a small amount of information. Thank you is so small. It is the smallest thing you can say, but it's the biggest thing you can say. And the only thing I can say to my donor family is I will take such good care of this heart, because without it I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't, there's no two ways about it. So the only thing I can do is take as much care of it as I can. And as I say, thank you. It's such a small, 2 words, but it does mean the world.
We were a normal family, and we had never talked about organ donation. So no, we'd never talked about it. It's nothing we'd ever talked about. But when we were asked, and the way we were asked straight away, as Dad and I just looked at each other and said, yes, we'd like to donate his organs. It just seemed the most natural thing to do. We discussed each organ that we'd be willing to donate, but we said we agreed to his heart, his pancreas, his liver and his kidneys. For me as a mum, you know, I'm always going to be proud of Daniel, both in life and in death. And I think, you know, he gave life to 4 other people through his gift. And out there, there's families living because of that gift. And they're not going through the heartbreak, you know, of losing their loved one.